All right, and so if you're new to the Eloy journey, it's basically simply we're going album to album. Kaya's making some comments and picking some of his favorite tracks from each album as we progress through the discography of Eloy. Now he says this is in their sort of their prime time. It's 1976 to 1982, the prime years of the band. They just hired a new drummer, Jürgen Rosenthal, who actually was drumming in the early Scorpions, and they're both from the same German town, Hanover. Yeah. So the music is more upbeat than the songs off the previous albums, says Kai. This song is called The Midnight Fight, Victory of Mental Force, which is a really long title. It's kind of cool. I like it, though. Sounds very much like Iron Maiden's song, Killers. And so let's go right into this now.
And fires are arising from dangerous cause. The darkness recedes from my feet, turning cold air into heat. My skin becomes more hot and dry, my weapons behind my eye. The ceiling mounts high up and fuses somewhere into sky. Who will be dying by flashing and crashing through the time?
I really like that pattern, the bass pattern, you know.
Flashes across the sky, that's moving up and down, meets the eye inside. Who will wear the crown?
It's pretty big sounding.
Shadows take my hand to drown me in the sand that's covering my feet. When will we meet? Night may sound and light appearing out of night. I cry to start to fight now. Frightened by my force, I chase your headless horse. Don't hide behind doors, no challenge. I'm here, I love at your fear.
This would be a very fun song to drum to.
Night may sound and light appearing out of night. I cry to start to fight. No. Frightened by my force, I chase your headless horse. Don't hide behind doors, no challenge. I'm here, I love at your fear.
Man, that's a cool song. It's a cool song.
Destroying the gate that will lead us to mental force. We extinguish the source. Why do murder point the roots of all living things?
Nice to add the strings. If this isn't Prog, I don't know what is Prog. Listen to the drums. Something really interesting he's doing there. Oh, beautiful. So altogether, really super solid song. It's interesting they had the new drummer in the band. I guess he was eager to impress everybody because he's working really hard. And he is impressing everybody, I'm sure. And the... yeah, at first, that must be what it is. I was thinking it was 1976, and I was thinking, this sounds like it was made in 1969. Why are they still stuck in that sort of psychedelic sound? Because other albums that came out in 1976 were quite more in advance than the 1960s sounding, right? So I guess that's what it was, my first impression of the song as it opened up. But as the song unfolded, compositionally, just the energy of it was super high energy, galloping along. It was like you're riding on a horse. And it held me for a long time. There was one point there, you would have seen me start looking at the screen. I think at that point it started to wane a little. So I was looking at the time, how long is this song? So to me that means that maybe it was just a little too stretched out in some parts there, or it was just getting slightly more repetitive than it needed to be, or they had a little more sections than they really needed. I think the song could have been shortened, maybe just a minute. There was a minute in there. I think they could have edited it a bit. And but I think they were so excited to have an orchestra there playing the violins. They just wanted to really enjoy that. But anyways, that's just my impression as a first time listener to that song. Like I say, Eloy has been sort of hit and miss a little bit with me. I remember my first reaction to the very first song a couple of years ago. I reacted to an Eloy song, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's all right. It's interesting. It's very like, I'm not a super big fan of the late '60s psychedelic stuff. I like it to some degree, but to me, it's just the last phase that sounds dated. Like, to me, the '70s don't sound dated, but the late '60s do, definitely. I guess the Beatles kind of managed to avoid that, though. I think that's a really a good sign for, as a producer, if somebody who produces the album, if in 20 years that album sounds dated, you can point at the producer. Usually the producer's the one who's supposed to the producer is a very ethereal thing. Like, probably means something different to every producer that exists, and maybe there is not even any kind of firm grasp on what is a producer. Who produced this album? Let me know. Kai, look into that. Find out who's producer. Leave it down below. I'm curious. But I do think it was a great song. Absolutely great song, and really enjoyed it. And the energy was great. The instrumentation was great. It was nice to hear the strings. I really like to hear that as they expand their palette. And there's one part, so some parts in there, it just, remember I said it sounded huge. It really did. It sounded super huge. It's like, yeah, now that was good. You know, whoever the producer was, you have to give them some credit whenever great things happen, and whenever things happen that are not great. So to me, the producer, part of his job is to hear the music and to see that it has a timelessness to it. I think that should be added to every producer's list of what they do. Sort of guide the band, because the band is right in the thick of it. They can't be really objective. They just kind of go inside themselves, and often if they're doing that really well, a producer can spot that and just sort of basically bring that out more, because that's going to be timeless. Whenever that kind of thing happens, they're coming right straighter from the soul, the better. Spiraling Out is Dean. Talk to you later. Bye.